Hey guys, it's me, Yaya Diamond. What's up, people? I am so very excited. I have a return guest. I have a return guest. I absolutely love when people come back. You know, it's great to interview people, but then when you get the one off, it's like, okay, it's just one. It's just one. And literally, people don't realize that you got to do like 50 in order to really start reaching the people and really start doing things. And when clients come back, or when people come back and they want to be back on the show, or when, artists come back, or authors, or theater, whatever the case may be, and they come back and they're like, hey, this is my update. People love it. I love it. And I'm just so happy to have Conrad back on the show today. Yes. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. So now you gotta tell me what's going on, because you have something totally different, totally new, and I need to know what's up. What's going on? What's going on?
So, I wrote a musical called Pray the Gay Away.
Mm-hmm.
It brings the topic of gay conversion therapy to the stage.
Mm.
And I am releasing the video of the live stage production on my YouTube channel.
That is so cool. That's so cool. And I do have that here. There it is. There it is. So it's actually going to be airing soon. Am I right? When is this coming out?
It's going to premiere on Sunday, March 23rd at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time on my
Mm.
YouTube channel.
My goodness. And so tell me about this play, because there's so many different ways that this could go. It could go one way, it could go the other way. It could be in so many, I need to get an idea, because I love plays. Absolutely love plays, and the reality of what it tries to display. So what is this play saying?
So this is a full-length musical theater show uh, with cast size of over 30, pit
Mm.
orchestra, the whole bit. It is bringing the painful world of gay conversion therapy to the stage. It takes place in 1982, Minnetonka, Minnesota, and it follows two boys going through gay conversion therapy, and it's showing the conflict between a local church, that's the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and also a local LGBTQ support group called Youth Pride.
Hmm. Okay. I'm confused. What does that mean? Like, conversion. What is that?
So, gay conversion therapy is a discredited practice that is aiming to take basically a homosexual and turn them straight. And it's usually used on adolescents um, as they're coming of age. And the largest group of people that funnels people into gay conversion therapy is religious organizations, churches. The 100 years ago, gay conversion therapy included violent electroshock, lobotomies. In the 1980s, there was a new version of gay conversion therapy that came out called reparative therapy. And the concept behind this was to, instead of converting men to become straight, they would repair them to their natural God given state, which would not be homosexuality. So you can understand why the churches are the largest people that funnel people into this, if it's a church that teaches that homosexuality is an abomination. Now, the name of gay conversion therapy has changed over the years. Like I said, in the 80s, it was reparative therapy. Later, it was gender conformity. They keep changing the name because it's gotten such a bad rap. But as of 2025, it is still happening in the United States, and churches are funneling adolescents into gay conversion therapy.
Uh, Well, that baffles me. It's like, okay, what do you say to that? That's, to me, it's like,
Which part baffles you?
what baffles me is that people would do such things to adolescent children.
So from a
Don't
church, yeah.
they don't know. Like they're going through things. I went through things. I mean, a lot of people went through things. You know, you're either going to remain in that state or you're going to go through and do another state. But these are kids. They're as children. I mean, don't go there and tell me you never thought about it. Being a Christian or a Catholic or whatever, don't tell me you never did that, because all children go through a phase, and in your adulthood you choose what life you want, and you choose and you are who you are. That's it. You are you. I don't
Well,
get it.
so you touch on an interesting thing because you say you choose, and again, this is from many churches' teachings that from Scripture that homosexuality is an abomination. Their standpoint is that homosexuality or any of the other variations is a choice. So the gay
I'm
conversion
sorry.
therapy, what
Maybe
well, I'm saying this is what a lot of
yeah,
people
I
think,
got you.
that it's a choice. And so gay conversion therapy is helping them to their heterosexual state to repair them so they can live according to God's word.
No,
And
maybe I said the wrong word. I mean, okay. So choose to me means that you have that option whether you can suppress or because you're an adult, or you can go for it and you can live whichever life you want to live. It's up to you. But I don't believe that it should be up to anyone else for them to decide what you should be. You see where I'm coming from?
oh, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is very valid. What my musical does is takes these opposing views and it really puts them into confrontation and goes in depth about the teachings of the church that is on a collision course with the LGBTQ rights groups. Now, many states have made gay conversion therapy illegal, but what a lot of people don't realize, there's usually a loophole. In the United States, because of separation of church and state, there's a loophole that spiritual advisors, ministers, can still administer gay conversion therapy because of their right to religion. Now, in Canada, I believe there's a law that says if a religious right impinges on a human right, the human right wins.
Hmm.
But we don't have a law like that in the United States.
No.
So the reason I wrote the musical, gay conversion therapy cannot really be legislated because of these loopholes. The change really has in the United States has to come from the faith community. My hope is that by putting gay conversion therapy on the stage so people can really see what's involved, I may not change people's minds within the faith community,
Hmm.
but the next time the topic comes up within their church, they'll at least have to pause and think a little bit after they've experienced what they experience
I
in
got you.
this show.
That that is like, wow. I just I never thought that they would do something like that to a human being. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
from their perspective, they're saying love the sinner, hate the sin. If we really love this person, the most beautiful love we can show is to help them change so they can enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, to some people, what I just said fills their heart with joy, and to others, that sends a chill down their spine.
you know, to me, that sounds like someone. Okay, so someone knows. I mean, come on. I'm in high school. You know, back in the '80s, and I'm in high school. Okay, and I know who's gay. You know who's gay. Come on. It's not a mystery. He's gay. Let's go hang out. You know, there was no threat. I mean, I felt close to all my friends, and whether they were straight or gay, it didn't matter. And some were straight but were gay. They looked like they were straight, but they weren't. They were gay. But you knew it. They knew it. There was no if, ands, or buts about it. I mean, how can, to me, that's like taking a person that's black and turning them white and then telling them, oh, okay, now you're white.
You are exactly
Always
on the nose with
black.
that.
You're gonna be black. You'll just be a weird black looking person, but you're gonna remain black. People know you're black. You know what I mean? You can't force something like that on someone where it's not a natural thing for them to be.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here. I guess so. I spent a lot of time in my research reading books that supported this kind of therapy because I wanted to understand where people were coming from. And a lot of the scriptural arguments are actually, supporting the gay conversion therapy. The scriptural arguments, a lot of them are actually very good. And I really struggled with that. Um, but to me, what made the difference is when I discovered that putting adolescents into gay conversion therapy, or even adults, contributes to the suicide rate,
Yes, it does.
contributes quite a bit. And to me, and I cover that in my musical, to me, that defeats the scriptural arguments. You have this kid who's 15 and committed suicide because he or she was put into this therapy. What's the point? Even if, no matter how good your scriptural arguments were, that's what motivated me to write this musical.
And I don't blame you
Yeah.
because that's it's just so much just going on in this world today. With everything that's going on in this world, the last thing that we need is to try and force someone to be something they're not and then to cause them to take their own lives. To me, that is just a travesty. Thou shalt not kill. I mean, it doesn't say thou shalt not kill straight people. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't say that. It says thou
Well,
shalt not kill. And in a way, to me, they have aided the death of this child.
so interestingly enough, and this is covered in the musical too, when someone goes through the therapy and they commit suicide, that's usually never mentioned at their funeral. The way it's framed is they gave up the good fight. The good fight is the fight against Satan. They gave up the fight. Or, you know, if someone has committed suicide as a result of the therapy, they've probably left the therapy before they committed suicide. So another thing that'll be said is, well, of course they committed suicide. They gave up on the therapy. These are very twisting, spine chilling elements, and they are also um, covered in our musical. It's a lot of the musical, surprisingly, is kind of fun and humorous. But when it goes to where it needs to go, people have said it's gut wrenching, emotionally devastating, and brutal.
I had a friend of mine. He wasn't gay, okay, but he was very easily persuaded, and he fell in love with this young lady, and the young lady did not love him and left, and he killed himself. To me, she did what she did, whatever. Is that I mean, I look at it like death is death, and a person that kills himself is not necessarily going through I'm gay, I'm not gay. It's more of a pressure to feel like as if they don't belong, and it's better that they not be here than to be here at all. Um, it's not a, it's not for me. It's not something we should decide for someone else. You know, if that person wants or is or was born this way, then they are. And it is up to them what they want to do. I have known plenty of gay people that forced themselves to be straight. Women had kids, and then they just went right back to being gay. They were like, I am done with this. I can't do this. It's not something that a person would choose, you know, to be gay, to it's just the way it is. It's their life. That's who they are. And I can't I think it's wrong to try and force your belief on someone just because you read in the Bible that it's wrong. But it's not up to you to decide what they do with their lives. It's up to them to decide what they do with their lives. And I am not I am not an advocate for that. I'm not an advocate for that at all. And I think, to me, that's imposition, that's imposing something on someone. Let them decide. If they Oppression usually doesn't last. They can't oppress their feelings. They can't oppress. That doesn't last. They have to. A person has to live their own life. And as me personally, I'm living mine. I'm not forcing anybody to do anything they don't want to do. I think that you're on the right track, because to me that's wrong. That's like telling a black person, I'm sorry, but being black is wrong, and I want to make you white. That's the extreme I feel that it's doing, because I can never truly be white, and I can't. I can change my skin color, but does that make me white? No, I'm still black. And I feel like that's the same thing that people are doing when you're trying to change someone from being gay to being straight. They
So,
they, they can't do that. They can't. It's not possible.
so everything you're saying, to me makes sense. But again, you're preaching to the choir.
I know.
From someone who is from this church environment, um, they don't feel that they're not the ones making the rules. God is making the rules. For instance, they will say, we're not the ones that would put you in hell. That's up to God. We're only the hands of God. Um, and a lot of what's in my musical is really representing these church views, that they really feel that what they're doing is out of love. Um, Another thing, from the church view, it's very binary. It's very, you're straight or you're gay,
Hmm.
and the musical doesn't cover transgender topics. That's just out of the scope of it. But when you realize that, gender and sexuality can be on a spectrum, then things start to make sense.
Mm,
And sexuality can be on a spectrum, that it's not binary.
mm,
Um, this musical can't cover that entire world. It covers, strictly, homosexuality. Uh, but yeah, from the church teachings, binary, heaven, hell, black, white, right, wrong. Uh, they feel they're doing it from a place of love. This musical, this musical shows the results of that kind of love.
right. I don't believe in that kind of love. I don't. I don't believe in that kind of love. The kind of love that I believe in is that when we get there, we will find out. I am not God. I am a person. I cannot cast judgment on anyone else. I have to I have to get my own self right. I gotta get me right. This this is right here. This is the finger, and all of these other fingers are pointing right back at me. It's not. That is that is so wrong on so many different levels that I just can't even fathom. And maybe even people will come after me for it. I'm not telling you that I don't believe in God. I'm not telling you I'm not, believing in Jesus, what people call Jesus. What I'm telling you is I'm not God. And I don't create men. And I can't force someone to be something that they're not. I love people, all the people. I love everybody because we are called to love, right? That's what the Bible says. You're called to love, right? So if you're called to love, you have to love people regardless and where they are. Because guess what? When we
Well,
go, we will find out what's going to happen. It may be that we are all wrong. You see
so
where I'm coming from?
I
And
hear what you're saying,
I don't agree with it. I don't
but
agree with it. I think it is a travesty. I think that it's terrible. And to cause these young men to kill themselves and then to say that, oh, it's because they didn't go through the whole program. You just killed somebody. You just aided and abetted. You should be put in jail.
so if everyone thought like you, I wouldn't have written the
I
musical
know.
because there would be no reason to. This musical, was created for the general public audience. A lot of theater projects that are created to kind of educate and show issues about the LGBTQ community, they are written again to preach to the choir. There's not people outside of that sphere that are going to go see them. My hope with this show is that there are parts that are actually entertaining, and there are parts counterintuitively that are funny. My hope is it reaches a wide audience so the people that aren't expecting to see and feel what they're going to see and feel
Hmm.
are exposed to it, so that when they go back to their communities, their churches, their
Yeah,
faith groups, that it has a little bit of an impact.
yeah. I understand where you're coming from. My auntie was gay. Um, we all knew she was gay, and I love my auntie and she's gone. She's passed away. My love for my auntie was not circumstantial on if she was gay or straight. She was my auntie. She was my love. She was my, like, you know what I mean? We go we it, you I just I it's a human being. We are human beings. And if we look at all of our faults and all of the things that we do, straight or gay, black, white, Indian, Spanish, I don't care where you're from, who you are, what color skin you are, what sexual orientation you have, we all have stuff that we need to work on. And pointing the finger at someone else because they have something to work on, if you think they do, okay, then that's wrong, because we all have stuff that we have to work on. I think that if you're born this way, you're just born this way, and you have to live your life according to the way you feel like you need to live your life. If you feel like you need to suppress it, then suppress it. If you feel like you need to live it, then live it. Go do it. I think that this play, and I think what you're doing is so in time, because there are just so many challenges going on, so many controversies with being minority, being black, being gay. It's like, okay, look, people, we need to realize that what we're doing to each other is just evil. It's just evil, and it has to stop, and someone has to declare that we can't we can't do this. That's just not right. And these programs need to go away. They need to go away, because these programs are not any better than the programs that say that they're going to help a person to come out of depression. But the only thing they do is medicate people, and then they send them home. Oh, I'm going to put you on Prozac or something, a Valium, as if that helps. They still kill each other. Look at Robin Williams. With all the money in the world and with everything he had, he still committed suicide. What does that tell you? It tells you that we're broken. We're broken as a society, broken as a people, We're broken and we're breaking each other. We're the human race, and we should love each other. And I hope that people go to this play, and please go with an open mind that these are human beings that have feelings, and they need help, and they some don't need help, some are depressed. They go through the same thing that we all go through in life. Their sexual orientation has nothing to do with the life that they live. And the more that we put them down for their sexual orientation, everything else just gets bigger. We can't do this anymore. We just can't. This has to stop.
So, one thing you see a lot in news articles or articles currently is why everyone's deciding to be gay. Why are there so many gay people now? Why are there so many transgender people? It's contagious. And well, the obvious fact is 100 years ago, like your aunt that you loved so much,
Yeah.
100 years ago, you probably wouldn't have known she was gay. In fact, you might even not know that gay exists because these people, they were the spinsters. These were people in hiding. 100 years ago, who would come out as transgender? No one.
Nobody.
I mean, you were going to get killed.
Yeah.
It's dangerous today. So, and I talk about that a little bit in Pray the Gay Away the musical. Let's say right now I push a button and no one in the world is LGBTQ plus. Okay? To some people, oh, that's a solution. Everything's fixed. Well, in the next generation, you're going to have them all over again because, surprise, people are born this way. All you're going to do is make them go into hiding. And there's a joke in the show. Again, a lot of the jokes aren't actually funny, they're just real statistics. They mention how there's no gay people in Russia. Just because if you live in Russia, you're probably not going to come out as LGBTQ because of the societal pressures. It's the LGBTQ community has a much higher suicide rate than the general public. And for many years, this was attributed to what they even now call gender dysphoria. But the truth is, the reason that suicide rate is so high is because of these societal pressures, political and religious pressures um, that are threatening people to live according to how they're born. Pray the Gay the Way the musical also touches on that, along with the church's arguments that disagree with that.
Well, I think they're wrong. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's like saying that the person that's born with ADHD, or they're born with autism, they have to go to these reformation places and be reformed, because
Well,
that
100 years ago, that was a thing, right?
I know that's terrible. That's
Not
terrible.
even 100 years ago. Yeah.
That is all of that's terrible. All of it's terrible. Again, we're talking about the human race here. We're talking about people with feelings and people who have a life. We're dumb. We are dumb. We are dumb. We're all dumb. I'm dumb. I have to say, because that's just, to me, the the worst thing that we could do to each other is to put each other down like that, and to crush each other just because of sexual orientation. To me, I'm dumb. It's all dumb. I don't know anything. I know nothing. Just so I can know something, I know nothing, because to me, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There is no way to do that. It's like I said, they medicate people with depression, and depression doesn't go away because of medication. You know what I mean? It's a system. It's something inside. It's a click. It's something that happened that made them the way they are. We have to dig a little deeper on that end. But as far as like gay and all that, That's what you're touching that for. That's the way they are. Leave them alone. Let them live their lives. We need to live our life the way we see fit to live our lives. And if that's the way that we are, then that's the way that we are. That's it. That's my argument. And trying to force someone to be something that they're not, and then they kill themselves. That's on that person. I
Well,
feel
I
like that is on that person.
again, your arguments, as passionate as they are, will not work usually with someone who is following certain religious doctrine and teachings.
Hmm.
They feel that they are showing love by saving this person.
No.
So the goal with my production, Pray the Gay Away, is not to change minds within the LGBTQ community or their allies. It's to reach a little wider.
Yeah.
Um, I will tell you that I know for a fact that our original run did save at least one life.
Mm,
There was someone who was able to come out to their parents and they brought them to the show.
mm,
And the parents were not accepting because of religious teachings. When they experienced what they experienced in the show, they had a change of heart.
well, I need everybody to go there then. They should all go. Everybody should just go. Just go, regardless. This is not going to kill you. You're not going to die. You're not going to go to hell. What you're going to get is a education on people.
There
That's
was someone told me about this in the original audience run. Someone actually had some friends who said, "There's going to be gay people in this show. Let's go watch the gay people. This will be fun." And they actually went to my musical to laugh at gay people on stage. I heard about this afterwards. Well, after they saw the show, what they experienced in the show was very different than what they anticipated. And what I was told is they were broken to tears
good.
and hugged my friend and said, "We had no idea. We had no idea." And many people will go to the show for different reasons, but those couple people, I I believe it has a ripple effect.
Yeah, it does. People need to understand
Because
people.
it's one thing to read about gay conversion therapy,
Mm,
um, and it's another thing to experience. There are parts of the material supporting gay conversion therapy that, to me, are very humorous. And the humor lands different for different people depending on your belief systems. One of the things, statistics from the materials that support gay conversion therapy says scientific research has found that the majority of gay boys grow up to be gay men, which I find very humorous. But the takeaway for some people from this is, oh, well, we've got to save them before they become gay men. Another thing is it actually says keep your children away from musical theater because that will nudge them towards homosexuality. And actually, when I read that, is when I said, I've got to make this into a musical theater project.
uh, we're stupid. That's what,
Well, we are. We are.
yes, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think everybody should go. I think you should go with an open mind. Go ahead and go see Pray the Gay Away and see how to deal with people. See how to deal and love people and have empathy and have understanding and understand that this is not something you can pray away. You can't restructure them to be something they're not. There is literally, look, if you're a Christian, if you're a believer, whatever the case may be, you are called to love. You're not called to love just this person or that person. You're called to love, not to try and restructure someone and force them into something. They have to decide for themselves what they want to do with their lives. But ultimately, we have to care for ourselves and love ourselves enough to know that what we need to do, what we need to focus on is our own lives. And then we can move on and say, okay, I love me. Now I love you too. Stop trying to change people. They have a life to live. Let them live their lives. All right. And go to this play and check it out and learn how to love regardless. Learn how to love beyond every societal stupidity that we can think of. Because to me, that just doesn't make any sense. To
So
force someone to kill themselves. That.
so again, what
Mm,
you're everything you're saying is very beautiful,
I
but
know.
with every statement you've said from a church standpoint, I can counter it, and I can counter it with love, right? And I'm putting love in quotation marks. And
Right.
the reason, I know this is because, of all the research I've done of these standpoints. Um, it the result of it is barbaric, but they really think they're doing it from a place of love.
They're not.
And again, this show shows that whole political and cultural tapestry,
Hmm.
that puts all this together. There's
Yeah.
so much stuff together. Any one of your points could easily be a 1 hour discussion.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. But what they're doing is, like you said, barbaric, and I don't approve of it, and I don't agree. I think everybody should go to this play. I think everybody should go to this play and look at it, because as much as I love my auntie, you have it had nothing to do with who she was behind closed doors. She was my auntie. She was my love. She was my pal. You know what I mean? And I love her. I loved her, and I never tried to change her, and I never asked her why she was. I never, because why? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And that's where we're headed. We're headed into a
But the
place of
problem, the
is
problem is that's
people
so
trying to change people.
reasonable.
Huh?
That's so reasonable what you said. That's the
It-
problem.
well,
It's so
okay, so
reasonable.
tell me. Tell me
No,
what.
I'm saying that's the problem. Everything you're saying is very reasonable.
But it should be. It should be like,
It should be.
it should be reasonable. I mean, we're people. We're people. I'm a person. You're a person. Doesn't matter whether you're white, black. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. We are called to love. But I think you're right. People take love and they manipulate love into being like this thing that makes people conform, and that's not love. That's hate.
And that you just said is covered, I think, very well in the musical. There is one thing I hope. Uh, in the original production run, it was in a theater.
Mm,
There are moments where people were uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to walk out. So
right.
they'd be uncomfortable, then things would get better, then something would be funny, then it would be serious. So they experienced the full journey. If you stop watching the show at the end of Act One, which would be very easy to do on YouTube, to fast forward or, turn it off. If you stop watching at the end of Act One, you will most likely be offended. I would be, and I wrote it. You really have to watch it all the way through to get the full journey, because most of Act One is setting people up so they have all the information to deal with, and most of the humor and the fun times are in Act One. Act Two goes very quickly into the meat of why I created the project goes where it needs to go, and we see more of the devastating of effects of love the sinner, hate the sin, as far as gay conversion therapy is concerned.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, you're right. We could talk about this all day.
We
We
could.
could talk about this all day. I think it's hateful to try and make someone something they're not. That is not love. That's not love. You know, to me, that's like someone trying to make me not a singer, not an entertainer, not a performer, not a host. You can't do this. To me, I'm oppressed. I can't live the way I want to live. So I might as well not live at all.
And that's the point where a lot of people are driven to, again, increasing the suicide rate. In the original run, we did free ads for the Trevor Project,
Hmm.
which is a free suicide hotline for LGBTQ youth. And all of our merchandise proceeds, every penny, went to PFLAG, which is the Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. It's
Hmm.
a support group that's been around since the 1970s.
Mm.
And I hope if the show goes to the next level, reaches a wider audience, which is my hope, um, I plan on that remaining intact, where merchandise proceeds go to really great LGBTQ support groups.
I got you. Wow. Well, thank you so much for bringing us on the show. I appreciate it. You know, I have too many fingers pointing back at me to even consider thinking about anyone else. And it's not my duty and it's not my task to judge anyone. That is not I'm not God. I will not do it. As a black woman in this age, I have been pulled through the ringer. Somebody's called the N word at me while I was riding my bike, tried to run me over with their truck. I mean, I've gone through some stuff, all because I'm a color. I don't approve, and it will never be something that I approve of, just because they are who they are. No one can change who they are, not unless it's something that you can change. I can change being mean, but I can never change being black, and that's how I feel. LGBTQ, whatever the case may be, should not ever have to change for anyone. Just yourself. Go ahead and check out this play, guys. It's going to be airing in 3 days, and I'm hoping and praying that you guys will go ahead and tune in and watch it all the way through. Remember to go past the first part, go into the second part. Don't be offended. Don't let your feelings go on your sleeve, okay? And and get educated about people and love and the feelings of people. And that way we can actually begin to understand what real love is. Not love that turns to hate, but just love. Thank you so much, Conrad.
Thank you so much for having me and sharing all of your passionate and honest thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different, but most of all, don't forget to tune in. I'm going to put the link in the description box below so it'll be easy for you guys to find this and tune in. You know, if you have to tune in because you're, you know, ashamed to watch it and you don't want to tell nobody, you don't need to. This is your life and you don't need to compromise for anyone. If you want to look at it, watch it. Okay? It's what you want to do with your life. Remember, in the end, we all die alone and we are all responsible for all of our actions. And who knows really truly what happens when we're gone. And the only people that can say are gone. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye. Thank you for watching.